So here you can see there are four different species of honeybee. That is the rock bee, then little bee is the Indian bee is the and stingless bee. These are the four different species of honeybee. So we have to see the features of these different types of honeybees. First we will take rock bee. We have to know what is the scientific name of rock bee. The first one is the dwarf bee. So we will start with that. So going to the dwarf bee is known by the name dwarf honeybee or bush bee. Here you can find there is a picture. This is the little honeybee. Little honeybee, popularly known by the name Apis florea. In Malayalam we call it as Cheruthen. Vanthen and Cheruthen. That's Vanthen means rock bee and Cheruthen means little bee. So the scientifically it is known as the Apis florea. That is the scientific name of the. So it is a very primitive honeybee and it is not building very large nest unlike the dwarf honeybee. It is making only very small nest. Then one important feature of Apis florea is that its honey is generally considered medicinal, has higher medicinal value. That is the most important significance of Apis florea. So coming to the identification part of this Apis florea, here you can find a brownish. Apis florea is brownish. This is the Apis florea. And on the abdomen you can find three white markings. So this is the Apis florea. The abdomen is brownish and there are three white bands are there. The basal part of the abdomen is also red. So this is the basal part. It is most of the time reddish in color and three bands are there, white bands on a black background that will be there. So by simply looking at these white bands, you can very easily identify whether this is Apis florea or the little honeybee. So there another name is the bush bee, also known by the name dwarf honeybee. Then there is another species known as Apis andreniformis. Andreniformis, slightly more darker in color. And the first abdominal segment is totally black. Here it is reddish in color in andreniformis, about which you don't need to study. It is more blackish in color. So these are the species of the first type of honeybee known as Apis florea. The most common type of honeybee is known as the Apis dorsata. Here you can find this is the Apis dorsata. In Malayalam we call it as Vanthen. So it's slightly larger in size and most of the time you can find the nest of this beehive will be placed below this branches of trees or sometimes below the sunshade, especially on tall buildings. You can find this kind of honeybee hives will be there. So going to the rock bee is large white. It is slightly more larger than the other two species of honeybee. So that is an important feature of that. And one important feature is that it attacks easily. It's a ferocious temperament. And if you disturb the hive of a rock honeybee, most of the time they will be attacking you. So that is one problem with the rock honeybee. It's very aggressive. That is very ferocious temperament. It can attack very easily. Another problem is regarding the nature of the hive. They are usually placed on the exposed places, slightly above the ground. Here you can this is how the hives are usually present. Sometimes in the roof of the buildings, sometimes in the branches of the trees. You can find these hives like that. Then the hive is made up of single vertical comb. That is another, and the length of the hive. This length of the hive or size of the hive may be up to 1 meter, sometimes more than 1 meter. So it is building a very large sized hive. So that is one important peculiarity of the rock bee. Then during the breeding season, here you can see the breeding season is coming in March or April months. They swarm and migrate to different places in the forest looking for nesting site. So the March and April are the breeding season. During this time, you can find that this bee is moving to other places in the forest or in a, or if it is in a garden. You can see it's moving to another place. So that is one another peculiarity. So most important feature of is that rock honeybee is slightly larger and it is aggressive and it is building a very large sized hive. So this is the second type of, this is the Episploria, and what you are seeing is the rock bee. So rock bee, here also there are three abdominal bands are there, but the nature and the color of the bands are typically different. Here this is darker and white bands are there. On a dark background we are finding white background. Here it is not that prominent, and the size of the rock bee is also larger. Then another peculiarity is that they produce a large quantity of honey. There is one from beehive we can get up to 36 kilogram of honey. So that is the amount of honey that we can collect from one beehive. So large quantities of honey can be obtained from the rock bee, and this is the largest honey bee in India. And they will be living at an altitude of up to 2,700 meters. Even in high ranges like Munnar, we can find this rock bee. The third species is known as Apis cerana indica. Sometimes we call it as Apis indica. And going to Apis cerana indica or Asiatic honeybee. This is mostly found in southern Asia, and this Apis cerana indica subspecies still found in wild in India, because in the wild, that is in the forest of India, we can still find this species. And this species can be domesticated by farmers for honey production because its temperament is not so aggressive. It is unlike the rock honeybee. This is very aggressive. This is not that much aggressive. So Asiatic honeybee is another species. Then it is most of the time it is found in Himalayan regions where the temperate fruit blooms and provide abundant source of nectar, because it needs slightly cooler place. That is why this Asiatic honeybee is present in Himalayan region. It can survive temperature as low as 0 degree. So this is the third species. Here you can find the Apis cerana indica. There is some difference, and the hive size of the hive is also smaller compared with this rock honeybee. Then we have few more. This is also a domesticated species. So Asiatic honeybee or Apis cerana indica is a domesticated species, whereas in the case of rock honeybee, it cannot be domesticated. Domesticated means we cannot cultivate it. So that is one problem. So, and the quantity of honey produced by Asiatic honeybees is around 6 kg to 8 kilogram per colony. Whereas in the case of earlier case, they are producing large quantity, that is 36 kilogram per comb or per colony. So this is producing more, but it cannot be domesticated, and this is aggressive also. Whereas here the honey production of honey is very limited in smaller quantity, but at the same time advantage is that it can be domesticated. And these bees are larger than Apis florea but smaller than Apis mellifera. And mellifera is the type of honeybee which most of the time farmers are rearing. And that is the fourth species. There is Apis mellifera. This is a honeybee that we are rearing in our garden or in our agricultural fields. This is not indigenous to India, but introduced to India from USA and European countries. So this is the most popular type of honeybee. Other three types of honeybees we take, they are native to India. Whereas the European honeybee or the Western honeybee, or scientifically known as Apis mellifera. If you take Apis mellifera, It has been introduced into India from USA and other European countries, and the species is larger in size and lighter in color. Here you can see. This is Apis mellifera. This is the honeybee that we most of the time we call as Italian honeybee. If you go to a farmer and ask them what species they are hearing, this is the honeybee. This Apis mellifera, they sometimes call it as Italian honeybee also. Then this species is a larger in size than compared with Apis sarana indica or Apis florea. But this species is also amenable to diseases such as there is certain type of diseases are not affected. American foul brood disease, which sometimes but this species is resisting that disease to some extent. So this is the fourth type of honeybee, and this is the most popular type of honeybee which farmers are rearing for producing honey. So this is honey producing honeybee because they are producing comparatively larger quantity of honey, and also it can be easily domesticated. They are not very aggressive. Then the fourth type of honeybee is known as a dammer bee. There are different names. Dammer bees are sometimes known as stingless bee. Some people call it as mosquito bees also. They are very small. Here you can see they are very small. And sometimes you can find they are making their hive in this electricity boxes also. Or most of the time they will be building their hives in small holes in the trees. Then this is the third type of honeybee. This is smallest of honeybees, smaller than the Indian Apis florea. So almost the size of a mosquito, very small. That is why it is known as a mosquito bee. Then regarding the scientific name, there are two. They belong to two genus. One is Mellipona iridipenis, and second is a Trigona. So Mellipona and Trigona are the genera to which these dammer bees or the mosquito bees are belonging. Then these bees are much smaller than the true honeybee, and they also do not produce a large quantity of honey. They are producing only very little quantity of honey. So going to the importance of this bee, that stingless, they are known as a stingless honeybee. Stingless honeybee means they will not attack, and their stings are not properly developed. That is why they are known as stingless honeybee. They are not very aggressive. Even if you go near their nest or near their hive, they are not going to attack you. So you can take them in your hand, no problem. So they bite their enemies or intruders, but they are very quite harmless, and it can be very easily domesticated. But still, people are not domesticating this honeybee because yield of honey is very limited. They produce only 100 grams of honeybee, 100 grams of honey per year. So that is the reason why, even though it can be domesticated easily, people are not rearing this species because they produce only very little quantity of honey. So there is a fourth type of honeybee known as a dammer bee. So these are the four different species of honeybee. So one is, you can start once again. This is the first species is known as the Apis florea. You can look at the abdomen, and abdomen is almost red at the base, and there are three bands are there, and their honeybees sometimes medicinal value also. Then second is the larger bee known by the name Apis dorsata. This is a non-domesticated species, very aggressive also, but they produce a large amount of honey. And third species is known by the name Indian honeybee. Most of the time we can find Indian honeybee or Asiatic honeybee to the north of India, especially on the Himalayan region. Then the fourth type is known by the name this Western honeybee or the European honeybee, popularly known by the name Apis mellifera. So regarding Apis mellifera, this is the most common type of honeybee which farmers are cultivating. Then the fifth type is a dammer bee. There are two genus under that. One is Trigona and second one is the Mellipona. But they produce only very little amount of honey. And because of that, they are not, even though they can be domesticated, people are not rearing this honeybee. So this is regarding the four different type of honeybees.